Dozens of articles this year have documented the downfall of the superhero genre, once dominated by Marvel and the MCU, and well, now people with their rose-tinted glasses firmly placed on their bedside table are coming to the conclusion that a bunch of people at the time, especially over the past couple of years, have already arrived at, that these things, they aren't exactly all that good. And while Star Wars, for just simply a sheer lack of content, and the one thing that they put out this year was of obscenely high quality, they can just go ahead and kick the can down the road just a little bit, but eventually it's going to hit them smack dab in the face, because it's not going to be one, it's not going to be two, it's going to be over 3 long years since the Star Wars faithful have been treated to the stupid wee sound cue for one of the most generic, bland, stupid characters ever to be affixed to the Star Wars brand. And yes, we're talking about the Mandalorian here, and it was always a curious decision to do a Mandalorian movie. I mean, like, the character itself of the intergalactic bounty hunter, it's kind of tailor-made for episodic television, but in the past few years we kind of figured out that Disney can't really make episodic television, so yeah, lo and behold, Star Wars needs a movie. It's only been, let me check, 7 years since we have had a movie out there. What is something that still has a little bit of a pulse? The baby Grogu thing. Yeah, just go ahead and throw Baby Yoda on the big screen. That'll just go ahead and print money. They're going to be in for a rude awakening in May of next year. And I just can't wait to see, because now, at the beginning of this year, you had a Screen Rant article come out and say, 2 years on, I finally understand what went wrong with The Mandalorian Season 3. Well, you could have just watched it at the time and went, okay, you've got 2 aimless bottle episodes. You've also got one that was, half of it was about Dr. Pershing, and the entire thrust of the season was how you were trying to replace the Mandalorian with Bo-Katan. Get the Darksaber in her hands, only in the final episode. Destroy the Darksaber, rug pull her storyline by just having her, kind of set up off to the side with the rest of the refugee Mandalorians to rebuild Mandalore. And meanwhile, you've reset everything with a Mandalorian and Grogu. They're now just gonna live on a farm somewhere and potentially go off and do some bounty hunter shit every once in a while. It was season finale that ostensibly wrapped up the story of the Mandalorian. So where do you go from there? Really, God only knows, because, just to give you the overview of this article, it doesn't really hit on anything, particularly intelligent, but the Mandalorian Season 3 restored Din Djarin and Grogu to their defaults. Well, to be completely honest, that was taken care of even a year before Season 3 happened, because it happened in one of the 2 episodes of the Book of Boba Fett that were pretty much episodes 1 and 2 of Season 3 of The Mandalorian. Star Wars has been in more trouble than people are willing to give it credit for a while, but I really think next year is going to drive that home with a flop in the theaters, and then Ahsoka Season 2, very likely. Because we are definitely starting to see Star Wars get put under that microscope the exact same way the MCU has, especially this year with its number of flops. And we got some topics this week where we're going to go ahead and really show you how dead and buried that franchise is. But no, next year, it's going to be Lucasfilm's time. Because now people are starting to go back and go, you know what, that Mandalorian, maybe it wasn't all that good. Like, Season 3 was garbage, because it was, kind of rushed and crap like that. But Season 2, actually went back and watched that, and, that wasn't very good. Actually, was the Mandalorian that good at all whatsoever? I would imagine those are the conversations that are going to pop up the moment that Ahsoka Season 2 comes along and there's nothing that happens. And then it's going to be especially obvious, and it's going to be a very easy comparison to make, because the last thing that Star Wars put out was Andor, and is anybody turning on that, or are more people finding it, even though it did exceedingly well when it came out, because nobody was anticipating it to really hit the charts, because this first season really didn't. But lo and behold, it was on the Nielsen ratings, and it ended up doing quite well. But no, nobody watched Andor. It was it's not Star Wars. You're a shill if you like it. And I forget what the rest of the anti-Disney brigade say about that. Oh, right. It's not in line with George Lucas's vision. That's more Dave Filoni stuff, but Dave Filoni can't write Star. It's very complicated to be one of these aimless Star Wars criticizers, because they don't even really know what it is they're supposed to hate. They just know that they're supposed to hate it. So yeah, didn't even get this one right because yeah, Mando and Baby Yoda were restored in, Book of Boba Fett all those years back as well. And then you got Mandalorian and Din Djarin experience the illusion of change. No, because there you got, the end of the end of season 2, the last time that Pedro Pascal was actually in the costume. That was at the end of 2020, so for the first time in 6 years, you would imagine, right? Because some of the key art that has been out there for the movie, which God, we got to be getting a trailer here sometime soon-ish. Because outside of the one that was played at Disney Expo, or was that from? That might have been from Star Wars Celebration that ended up leaking out there. We have not seen anything about this, and it's been done and dusted outside of reshoots, which I haven't really heard anything about, but this thing has been done since the end of last year. Like, kind of wild how this is just not getting any attention placed on it. It's almost like Lucasfilm is a little bit scared, okay? But long story short, starting to see the kid gloves come off, okay? They're not quite ready to put on like the 12-ounce boxing mitts and go to town on Favreau, Filoni, and Lucasfilm specifically for their lack of skill in the writer's room, but that will eventually come around once the shine wears off of the movie and the hype cycle for Star Wars back in the theaters dims down because, okay, even if the film, I don't think it's going to be good, but even if it is passable, where do you really go from there? Because you have a movie built on a series that is already 3 years in the past that nobody liked the last iteration of. You sidelined your main character, or at least severely diminished his storyline in service of another character that, do we even know she's going to be a part of this? Because we're not even sure that she wants to have a future in the series, because Katee Sackhoff, who if you were watching at the time like I was, at least the coverage around it, I didn't watch the show because, God, that's cringe, but yes, all the coverage that was around it, it was looking a lot like, and what is it, hilariously enough, it was that cringe Lizzo Jack Black episode where at the end, after, Bo-Katan gets the goofy-ass darksaber, it's just, Mando off to the side and she's front and center. It's like, oh, this is going to become her show because it's called The Mandalorian. Is she going to assume the mantle of the Mandalorian? Well, maybe Bo-Katan will, but will Katee Sackhoff? Well, she reveals that The Mandalorian broke her. The real problem with Disney Star Wars confirmed. Big shock on this one. When Katee Sackhoff revealed in a recent interview that working on The Mandalorian broke her and stripped away her confidence, it stunned a lot of fans. After all, Sackhoff wasn't just another actor hired in a full suit of Beskar and stand there pointlessly. Well, I mean, there's the screenshot that I was referencing before. There you go. And stand there, pointlessly, like, yes, fucking goofy ass Sasha Banks with her retarded ass X braids over her fore. Oh God, it's such bad costume design. Like, how is it that you can have Jango and Boba Fett look so fucking cool, but the rest of these Mandos look absolute scrub tier? But anyways, she was Bo-Katan. She originated the character in animation, gave her a voice, Clone Wars and Rebels, and carried the Mandalorian legacy long before Disney Plus ever entered the equation. Gee, it's almost like the stuff that came before D Plus was just about as bad as the stuff that was on D+. Are we coming to some very difficult revelations here? Anyways, if anyone should have felt grounded in the role, it was her. Alright, but Sackhoff admitted the exact opposite. She never connected with Bo-Katan in live action. She lost all of her confidence after season 3, and she basically didn't work for 3 years because of it. That's not just a personal struggle, it's a window into what went wrong with the show and Disney Star Wars itself. I lost all my confidence after Mandalorian, she admitted on an episode of her podcast, The Sackhoff Show. All of it, Bo-Katan is nowhere near who I am as a human being. I never felt her in my stomach. It broke me. It just broke me. And I mean, okay, like if you're an actor and you're portraying somebody that is fundamentally different than you, that's one thing. But if it's a character that you think that you've been in the role for so long, and then when you come through on season 3 and things are so fundamentally different, because I remember a lot of people who have a lot more connection with Clone Wars and Rebels. I think it's more or less a Clone Wars thing. Not entirely sure on this one, but what she did during the time of the Clone Wars is very different than the way that she was characterized and how she was regarded in Mando, for sure. Not just season 3, and that's from, loreheads and people that watch TCW. But yes, these aren't the words of an actress riding high on Star Wars fame. Well, at one point in time you could say that, but now, not so much. They're words of someone who says that she started doubting everything about herself, and who admits she basically didn't work for 3 years after season 3 wrapped. So that's a career crisis, and it points to a deeper creative problem inside Disney Lucasfilm. It's worth remembering that Bo-Katan was born under Disney. Okay, yeah, she was created in the Clone Wars in 2012. The show credited as created by George Lucas, yes, with Dave Filoni supervising, yes, because I can use it as the vehicle to make Ahsoka the main character of Star Wars. Under Lucas's oversight, Bo-Katan was messy, contradictory, and real. Yes, a warrior racked with guilt over Death Watch ties and struggling against her sister Satine's pacifism, and a leader who never felt worthy of the throne. And then, yeah, when you meet her at the beginning of season 3, she sat on a throne in an empty castle. See the parallels. Anyways, Disney purchased Lucasfilm later that year and installed Kathleen Kennedy as president. The shift in stewardship was seismic. The same character who had depth and conflict in animation was reduced to a live action. Was reduced in live action to a delivery system for exposition and eventually a plot device for a coronation arc. Yeah, she was the main character of Mando season 3, and then she got rug pulled. Never felt her in my stomach, she said. It's a devastating admission. Actors connect to the characters through emotion, but when the scripts are hollow, there's nothing to hold on to. By season 3, she wasn't just playing a layered warrior, she was playing a mannequin that the writers propped up as the chosen one. Exactly, because she got to walk between both worlds. She got the stupid mythosaur on her shoulder plate, and she could take off her helmet because she said that she seen one. She didn't have to provide any proof like Mando did by, getting a vial of the living waters, but she said, yeah, I saw one, and then the stupid armor is like, okay, you're a boss now. It's like, wait, what? It's a good show written by smart people. But yes, long story short, it was incredible job security. Working on a Star Wars project, working on at one point in time, well, at least at the point when her character was introduced in season 2, that was arguably the most popular thing. I don't even think that's arguable, okay? It was the preeminent show under the Star Wars banner, especially after the sequel trilogy, and it even had people that despise the sequel trilogy for several different reasons, for some reason or another, thinking that Mandalorian was better, but, those camps still do exist, but they were much more structured and strong back in 2020. Long story short, Katee Sackhoff just got thrown through the grinder like so many other people from the various different Disney-affiliated franchises have gone through in recent years. She's just the most recent to express it, and she is very likely not to be the last one to have a torrid tale of betrayal, character assassination, and regret from being attached to at one point in time was a money-printing monster, but is now no more menacing than the aim of a stormtrooper. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.